Microsoft is raising the price of Xbox consoles by $100 to $150. This is by Andy Robinson over at the VGC.
And 3 of our 4 stories we're talking about tonight involve some type of pricing. So strap in, we're going to talk money tonight. Starting August 1st of this year, the cheapest Series X 1 terabyte model without a disk drive will retail for $750, while the disk drive model will retail for $800. The cheapest 512 gigabyte Series S model will now cost $500, with the 1 terabyte costing $600. In a statement, Xbox blamed the price increases on, quote, the current components crisis, blah, 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 blah. We hoped another price increase would not be necessary, and we have spent the last several months working with suppliers on options, the company said. Unfortunately, console storage and memory prices have increased by more than 2.5 times, and we expect another doubling by the fall of 2027. Yikes. Quote, the entire consumer electronics industry is struggling with the current components crisis, but the effects are particularly hard on consoles. Unlike phones, computers, speakers, and other consumer devices, consoles are typically not sold at a profit, but instead for less than they cost to make. The global economic situation has piled pressure on game console manufacturers, which have historically reduced prices over time. At this stage of PlayStation 4's life cycle, the console retailed for as little as $200, but the cheapest PlayStation 5 model cost 50% more than it did at launch in 2020. And Zach, you know that we were going to leave Xbox alone. Like originally, I was going to leave Xbox alone this week. Like spoiler for one of the quick hits, there was a thing that Asha Sharma talked about there was going to be, or like that Jason Schreier reported on, like continuing off of what we talked about last week, about there's going to be a bloodbath of like studios, like layoffs and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, we talked about last week, it's going to get worse before it gets better type of deal. And I was going to leave Xbox alone. I was just like, you know, I struggle with it. I'm just like, do we, don't we? I'm like, we talked enough about the studio politics. Let's leave them alone this week. And then this drops. And I'm like, well, it's not studio politics per se, but it is definitely the company politics for sure. And I get, again, it's like COVID. You know, again, we just eye roll every time we hear the same excuse for why they have to do the things that we do. Why did we have to delay? Why did we have to push this down the road? Oh, because of COVID, because of work from home situations, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, whatever. We are at that point, we're like over 1.5 years, 2 years into this. I'm like, I'm tired of hearing about this. And here we are, different subject matter, same feeling with, oh, why do we have to keep raising the prices? Because of the current components crisis. Okay, we're over 1 year into this. Quit. I get it. And because there is a thing like spoiling for like when we get the C machine, there is a thing in there about, oh, why they have to, you know, pretty much why they had to increase it, like because of what the RAM is being sold for, blah, blah, blah. And like the whole, like, it's pretty much like a hostage negotiation. It's like take it or leave it type of deal or no deal, essentially. And I get it to an extent, but at the same time, the onus is still on you guys. Like, again, you are the reason the last time you raised prices was almost 1 year ago. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back in a lot of retailers like Best Buy and said, you know what? This is way too overpriced. People are not buying it. We've already been sitting on way too much inventory before you did the second price increase, and now you're doing another, or before you did the previous price increase, you raised it again, and now we're just like we just see the writing on the wall. We're just going to be sitting on dead inventory. We're getting it out of our system, and now Best Buy looks like the geniuses because now an Xbox Series X is going to be $800, and like who's going to buy that crap? You know what I mean? It's I don't know. It just seems like, again, they were building goodwill, right? Like the first 100 days with Asha in office, right? She instantly lowered Game Pass. She got rid of these functions and features, and you know, it was like, all right, let's focus back on making this a great company that is competitive. We're tired of being the bronze champion. We need to go for gold. And it's like, all right, you have this awesome showcase. Like I talked about it ad nauseum 2 weeks ago about, you know, their game showcase, the strongest opener to a showcase in recent history. And like just banger after banger after banger after banger of why you should invest in Xbox. And then all these layoffs. You talk about Double Fine, you talk about Ninja Theory, you talk about Compulsion, all in risk of being closed or at the very least being spun off, like pretty much kicked out of house. Like, we put you in the pool house, you ain't going to be part of the family, but we'll at least let you live in the yard. You know what I mean? And it was just a bad taste in your mouth. And now now the sour cherry on top is, oh, by the way, we're now going to increase console prices again.
Yeah, at this point, it just feels like we're in a place it's just going to get worse. And it's going to be a while before it gets better. And we're at this interesting intersection of the bubble is bursting. And I highly suggest y'all going to watch this video. This is by Mug Thief. I'm putting it in the chat. He breaks down like the game industry, like he does it like once a quarter and everything, that the game industry is broken, and like goes through a lot of, it was really good. I highly suggest watching it. Also Jason Schreier's video on how we got here with Xbox and all of that. He also did one on Bungie. I digress. We are at this point where, okay, the Xbox Series S, the least powerful and hard to optimize for console, is now $500, Derek.
For the 500, and 1 terabyte costs you $600.
And they got rid of the 2 terabyte. I didn't put that in here, but the 2 terabyte model is gone of the Xbox Series X.
I forgot they even did a 2 terabyte Series S model. That's crazy.
Yeah, and like I understand, it's like, okay, we're going to get rid of, because SSDs are very expensive right now. So it's like, okay, if we can cut down on that, that's also why you see like Steam Machine, which we'll get into, where you have like a 512 gig one and a terabyte one. That's all you're, seeing and everything. But when the Series S is $500 just starting, man, that is a kick in the teeth. And now with the Xbox Series X going to $800, and again, you don't really need the disk drive at this point. In like, I don't know.
It only saves you $50 at the same time. You know? What I mean?
When it saves you $50, but like, I don't know many games that are actually printing on disk at this point. You know what I mean? Like, it is very few.
We know one that we'll get into at the end of the show that won't be printing a disc, but I digress.
Yeah. And it's like not many, like, and that's a cost that they can save. It's like, okay, we're going to just do digital codes. You can get a plastic case, and that does help, like, does hinder the resale value and all of that. But you look at this and it's like, okay, we have now increased the price. It's going to potentially go up again. We're working on Project Helix. Project Helix does not need to come out until 2030 at the earliest.
Well, and supposedly, like, I think I have it in the quick hits, is supposedly there's an analyst out there that says the RAM crisis will continue into 2027, but by the end of 27 into early 28, it should be on the up and up. Like, in other words, we might see light at the end of the tunnel, and it might get back to whatever type of normalcy we would consider. But that's a long way from now. Yeah.
But when you look at this, Derek, and we have GTA, which we're going to get into a lot of GTA news at the back end of the show. So if y'all are here for GTA news, then you're definitely going to be getting fed tonight. GTA is going to push sales. Okay.
Yes.
Would you rather, Derek, if you didn't have a console, you can only buy one. Would you rather buy the Xbox or the PlayStation 5?
I forget what the PlayStation 5 is retailing for, but I mean, I get a PlayStation 5 because not only is it going to be super optimized, like, I'm not buying GTA 6, but just for argument's sake, if I were to get GTA 6, not only is it better optimized for the PlayStation, it's easier to get a PlayStation. Like, you can walk into almost any store and buy a PlayStation, where, so, like I said earlier, a lot of retail stores took a stand after the price increase from last fall for Xbox and was like, it's already dead inventory. It's going to make it even deader. Let's just get it out of our stores.
Well, Derek, I will tell you right now. I can pull this up for everybody. The PlayStation 5 console, $449. Okay.
Wow. And that's for a 1 terabyte.
Now that's diskless.
Right.
I don't know what the difference between. No, this one has a disc too.
Yeah.
I don't know why one's 449 and the other one's not. I don't know.
Go back to the 649 one. And
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Is Fortnite subsidizing? That's interesting.
Your guess is good as well.
You know what I mean? Like it could be.
Hey.
It could be subsidizing it. Yeah, gaming is a luxury. I 100%. It's cost prohibitive when people can't even buy gas. Correct. You know what I mean? And like even if let's say not including the Fortnite one, $649. That is already cheaper than what the Xbox will be. Right now, $649
At least you get another month, you know.
Yeah, well, $649 is what the Xbox is right now. So it's like, okay, once it goes up, and we're calling it right now, and I know, Derek, you'll agree with me, PlayStation is going to go up. Like, we're going to see another.
I was going to bring that up because, you know, it's sort of like your turn, my turn, you know, call and response type of thing. Because, you know, when PlayStation, I think it was PlayStation rose theirs and then Xbox did theirs, that was like Best Buy said, all right, we're done selling you in stores. So, and now it's like, all right, it's almost like a measuring contest to see who blinks first, you know, type of thing. Yeah. And now that Xbox has done it, PlayStation thinks they have to respond. You don't have to respond in this kind of situation, guys. You can leave it alone. But again, if Xbox is doing it because of the current component crisis, PlayStation is going to follow suit. Probably beginning of next year, Switch will probably raise their price increase again. Who knows? Yeah. But again, I was just going to say, expect PlayStation right before the holiday season to increase their prices again. But I say all that to say, y'all have another just over a month before Xboxes raise their prices. Get an Xbox while you can. And I'm glad that they are giving some type of timetable before they increase those prices. So guys, if you, again, you know, we talked about it earlier this year when, you know, some of the price increases were talked about in late last year when it happened. When these happen and they give you a timetable, again, going into I know it's June 25th and this goes into effect August 1st. Start budgeting, figure it out. Like, again, if, you know, your kids want an Xbox for Christmas, have they been talking about it all year? Buy one now, hide it in the attic, hide it somewhere where they won't, so they won't ruin their Christmas surprise early. But get it now while it's cheaper, because once it gets to $800, the more it keeps going up for any of these consoles, the harder it's going to be to budget and get, because we know, like, even before all this component crisis, the rise of groceries and all this kind of stuff, it was always hard to get everything on the kids' Christmas list or just get everything on anybody's Christmas list. But now that prices are going up everywhere, it's getting even harder. So budget appropriately is all I can say.
Yeah. Well, and I'll get into that, but let me show you this. Joe puts a good one out here. I should try to get one with the payment plan ASAP or secondhand. Yeah. And it goes back to what I was talking about last week. Yep. Getting something secondhand, like, is not like, I know a lot of people look down on that, but dude, look at this. Look at this. $175 for a PlayStation 5 Slim.
Wow.
Yeah. Excellent condition, Sony PlayStation 5. This gaming system has you get two DualSense wireless controllers.
That's crazy. You would get less than that in trade value at GameStop.
Yeah. And again, 329, 350, 400, 250. Yeah. It just has the covers off there. 200, 380, 550. That's still cheaper than the other. 350, 324. Let's look up Xbox Series X's. We did this last week. 350, 300, $100.
That looks like it's sort of like, it's like, oh, we're going to charge $800, and it literally says in the disclaimer, this is just a piece of paper, and someone got mad because they bought just a piece of paper. It's like, it said it in the disclaimer.
Yeah, I would again, you got to watch out for the fake ones and everything. Yeah. But I would, anytime I buy something, I got to go check and make sure it works, it runs, all of that. But yeah, like, if you can.
Yeah, don't fall for the scam of like, oh, I got a PS5 for you, and it's just a PS3 and a PS2 taped together. Don't fall for that. Yeah,
don't fall for that. But I didn't put this on there, but you brought up a really interesting thought, Derek. And this is something that is being talked about. There might not be enough consoles for Christmas to meet
That's
demand.
even worse. Like, not only is it going to be outside of most people's budgets, but if you do budget and save up enough, you might not get one. What timeline are we living in?
We're living in the AI slop timeline. And this is, of course, going to be pushed by GTA 6, everybody. Like, just know that.
Yeah.
I just want to read just this right here. We've been informed that because of the ongoing issues around hardware component availability, we won't be getting the units we want ahead of GTA, the senior games buyer, speaking without his employer's permission, told the publication. Demand will likely outstrip supply during the year-end period. I can tell you definitely demand for the console exceeds the supply. That's crazy. That's crazy.
It is. And again, GTA is going to push this because people who have been waiting for a quote unquote reason to still buy a PS5 or Series X and S, have been saying, all right, I'll get it when GTA comes out, and GTA's here. And now it's like, not only is it way overpriced than what it launched at, and now it's going to be harder to find some, and especially if you're an Xbox fan. So this is ridiculous.
Yeah. And I hate this because we are definitely in a point where this is years in the making. Okay, this didn't just happen because of Asha Sharma coming on or this, that, or the other. This has been because of the gaming industry. Yeah, it's how to say this. Poor management. I was going to say something before poor, but poor management is the reason why we're here. Let's look at PlayStation. Because of Jim Ryan's push for live service games, we put a ton of development cost. 60% of all development for the last 5-ish years was focused on live service games.
Yep.
And just to get a game out the door that is big is at least $300 million for that big of a game. And you're like, oh my God, it takes so much money. It takes so much time to get these games out. And it's like, yeah, because we're pushing this agenda because we got to make crazy exponential growth every time. And
we got to hit 30% profit margins with every game that comes out. And if you're Xbox.
Well, Derek, what's funny is we reported on it last week that they had like a 3%. It was essentially profit margin. We're still making money. We want more. We want more, and we want it faster. We want it like we got to start pumping out. We got to start pumping out more of Elder Scrolls. We got to pump out more of Fallout. We got to pump out more Halo and Gears. And it's like, okay, it took Devil May Cry 5 like several years to make crazy amounts of money. Like we reported on it last week, and you look at the ones that are actually doing well right now. It's Capcom.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Capcom's doing really well right now.
They are spearheading in terms of third party.
And guess what? They're not making any of live service games. Yeah, they're they're focused solely on making first person story based games.
It's almost like they're letting their creatives be creative. It's a weird concept, dude.
Yeah.
And I mean, go back, and we saw, like, because of all the push to make these profits, Jim Ryan's, cursed be his name, full of disdain. When he pushed this, what did it cost us? I mean, Concord came out and didn't last 2 weeks. It cost us Blue Point Studios. It cost us like Naughty Dog to take a step back. It did so much irreparable damage to PlayStation, the brand, and the PlayStation Studios and we're gonna eventually. I mean, we'll get into it here in just a minute. We're probably gonna lose Bungie, like as a result of it. Like one of the frontiers, the pioneers in the gaming community for like Halo and all that, being like well known for shooters and multiplayer. Like, we're going to lose one of the household names eventually because of these decisions.
Yeah, and like that 3% profit margin or whatever, which is actually 30. Well, actually, no, it's not 30. I misspoke on that. It's 3%, which is still crazy. to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to know PlayStation's?
Go ahead.
Okay. 23%. But that is before they had that huge loss on Bungie. So it's actually around 9% with that factored in.
Ooh.
So
Yeah.
it all comes back to poor management. It all comes back to poor management. And that's the sad thing, because when you have good management in there and they challenge people that don't know their butt from a hole in the ground, like my grandfather would say, you get threatened. Like Shuhei Yoshida got threatened by Jim Ryan. And it's like, without people like Shuhei Yoshida, God of War 2018 wouldn't have happened.
Nope.
It would not be the same
Ragnarok.
game.
Definitely would not have gotten Lao Fei.
No. And it's like, you have to have people in there it's essentially like the only way to make a diamond is because of pressure. You've got the resources, you got the coal, and you got the pressure. That's what Shuhei and good managers do, is they put the pressure on the creatives in a good way, not to churn out this, that, and the other, but in a good way. And then you get a diamond. You get something that does well. Yep. Spider-Man 1 did really well sales wise. Yep. And Spider-Man 2 was good, but it can't make up for that $300 million budget.
No. And I mean, well, and I was going to say, look at Insomniac as a whole. Like, Insomniac has had a resurgence because, like, after being bought by PlayStation, like, they did a great Ratchet and Clank game that was a PS5 launch window title that did phenomenal. And I mean, brought faith back in the probably gave birth to Astrobot because it's like, hey, people still love platformers. You know, it's like a crazy concept. And now it's like they've got all these Spider-Man games. We're about to have their next game here in a couple months, and Wolverine, can't wait for that. And now, and look at but Sucker Punch. Like, Sucker Punch was the Infamous studio for a while, and like, those games were good, but Second Son was not really great. Like, after the following up first two, and now like the Ghost titles, they've had two great Ghost titles, especially. And it's like, when you let these studios breathe and give them direction, but also challenge them to be like, hey, okay, this, like, a great example that we bring up all the time, right? Guerrilla Games, right? They were the Killzone studio, and those games were, pardon my French, a fart in the wind. Like, they came out, no fanfare, crap multiplayer, not pushing the genre forward at all. And when they came out when they announced this Horizon Zero Dawn, they were like, oh, this is Guerrilla, what is this? And then it came out, we were all blown away because they were challenged to do something different. They were like, hey, like, it was probably a twofold thing. They were like, hey, let us do something other than shooters. All right, what have you got? Cool. Now, how are you going to make this way different than what you're going to do? What's the premise? Like, all this, like, make that world interesting. And guess what? You got it. Now, Forbidden West was a different ball of wax, but it pushed the gameplay forward. But like, Guerrilla was allowed to be creative and challenged to do something different. And look what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's up, Dan? Hope you're doing well, bro. I think this is interesting, and I don't want to jump the shark here, but I do want to bring this up. GTA. What kind of game is GTA 6, Derek?
An open world action game.
Yeah, but is it multiplayer, live service?
No, it's gonna be. I mean, will it have a multiplayer mode eventually? Yes, but right now it's being touted as a single player experience.
So you have the most anticipated game of all time, GTA 6, that's literally going to carry all of the financials, and people are going to point to it as like, oh no, the gaming industry's healthy. If without GTA, I don't think the numbers would line up this year. No, okay,
100%.
But we're going to point to GTA, and Derek, I remember us early on with this show. It's like people were saying, "Is single player games dead? Are single player games dead?" And we saw the coming in of live service games, extraction shooters, blah, blah, blah. And now it's like all of that has come to a head and everything's on fire. And then we've got Rockstar coming out this year with GTA 6. And Derek, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but PlayStation's app literally has put a GTA 6 kind of style for their app.
Yeah, like the color scheme.
Yeah, they are, as Andy Cortez said today, they're glazing pretty hard.
Oh, for sure. And rightfully so, because Rockstar and PlayStation have been always great partners. So it's like PlayStation is going to push the mess out of GTA.
Yeah, but they also have a game that's coming out in September, Derek. PlayStation does. Yeah. Why don't they have this as blue and black?
They'll give it its time, but they know GTA is going to make them billions.
They will, but it's not going to be like they're not going to change the app's color for it.
No.
But
they know what's going to sell.
They know what
Wolverine will sell, but it's not going to sell compared to GTA.
No, definitely not. But I just thought it was very interesting that PlayStation changed their app.
It's already in June of 5 months away from when GTA is launching.
Well, and today pre-orders go live, which we're going to talk about.
That's also. Yeah.
We're going to talk about all of that here in just a little bit. I hope everyone's doing well. But yeah, we're in a very, very weird time. Again, I suggest everybody go watch Mug Thief's video. I'm putting it in the chat right now. Does a great job of breaking down where the industry is right now and what it's going to take, because this is essentially the second bubble bursting of the gaming industry. And he did a really, really good job of breaking all of that down. So I think everybody should go check that out. It was a very interesting watch today. And it's not boring. You know how a lot of those are kind of boring. You know what I mean? It's like they start talking numbers and you're just like,
on.
Yeah, it's just a snooze fest.